Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to the Gadsden City Council meeting today. Would also like to remind everyone to please make sure all cell phones are turned to the off or vibrate position. Also, please be advised our City Council meetings are broadcast on Comcast Channel 99, AT&T U-verse, and the City of Gadsden YouTube channel. This meeting of the Gadsden City Council will now come to order. The chair calls on City Clerk Ivan Nelson for the roll call.
Councilwoman Latham. Present. Councilman Smith.
Here.
Councilman Avery.
Here.
Councilman Back.
Here.
Councilman Wilson.
Here.
Councilwoman Minatra.
Here.
And Councilman Robinson.
Here.
We have a quorum present and our meeting is open for business. I'm going to ask Councilman Smith to lead the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you now, humblest way we know how. We come with bowed heads and humble hearts, looking unto you, the author and the finisher of our faith. God, we're in dire need of your wisdom, your leading, your guidance. We dare not do anything without you. We lift up our mayor, we lift up this council, we lift up the constituents of our city in this meeting on today. Allow your Holy Spirit to lead, to guide, and to direct. And Lord, we ask all these blessings and many more in the matchless name of our risen Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, we pray. And all that agreed said amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the work session and council meeting held on February the 6th. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to approve minutes.
Item 6, the chair will entertain a motion to ratify payment of accounts for the week of February 2nd through the 8th.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to ratify payment of the accounts.
All right. Agenda item 7 is reserved for proclamations and commendations. Mayor, we don't have any today from your office. All right. Well, it does give me great pleasure to ask a very good friend and former City Councilman Devrick Williams to come to the podium. Mr. Williams is going to present the Coach Rudolph Foundation presentation to the Parks and Recreation Department. Devrick, welcome home.
Taking it a good part.
Man, it's good to see you.
It's good to be here. I gotta take care of important business first.
That's right. That's right. That's a 12-year relationship, y'all. It's right there. Or maybe longer.
Definitely longer, for sure.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity to be here again. So to the Mayor Ford, I always appreciate you, appreciate your friendship. To each council member, Councilman Back, thank you for the kind words. You know, I see that y'all still having to wait on Jason to get the meeting started on time. That's okay.
Some things don't change.
Yeah. Councilman Smith, my dear friend, it's always good to see you. And again, we appreciate the opportunity to be here. These are always good meetings and good opportunities for the Coach Rudolph Foundation because we get to do what we're existing to do, and that is give money in support of youth sports initiatives. And a lot of what we're doing is because we've got great donors that support our mission, and those great donors include the mayor and the city council of Gadsden. And so I like to, when I explain to people what we do and why we do it, I like to use the analogy of driving a car on a road trip and looking down and noticing that you're about to run out of gas, but being pressed for time. And looking to the person next to you and saying, you know, we just don't have time to stop for gas. Well, if you don't stop for gas, you're going to stop eventually whether you want to or not. And we like to think about youth sports initiatives and youth initiatives as being that need to stop and being that reason that we need to stop. It's important that we take care of our youth now so that we don't have to spend money in our penal system to support them, so that we don't have to spend money in other ways and other negative ways to address youth behavior. And so again, one of the things that we like to do is invest in youth sports. The mission, and I hope one day we wake up and there are hundreds of foundations that have been started because people are motivated by what I was motivated by. And I was motivated because my father in 2010 was diagnosed with leukemia. And you start wondering about his legacy, and you start wondering about, wow, how can I carry on his legacy? And many people in this room and many people in the city know him because of his accomplishments in sports. But more so than that, one of the things that he did is he spent a lot of his adult years investing time and effort. He's a retired rubber worker. He worked third shift most of my teenage years. But he would take time off when he had the time to invest in young people, to coach, to mentor, and to start leagues, support teams, and do a lot of those things. And so again, our mission is to make sure that we carry on that legacy and invest in young people. And again, I want to challenge everybody in this room. If you've got somebody that you love and that you care about, and if they have a mission, start a foundation in their honor and support that mission, support that effort, and make sure that you're reinvesting in the community, in particular young people. Again, I challenge every young person. Most of us have parents. Most of us have parents that we admire, and most of us have parents that are passionate about something. Start a foundation in support of that mission. So with that said, I'd like to take the opportunity to call my board of director members up over here, and of course there's Jen there representing the Parks and Rec department. Parks and Rec is going to be receiving all of the money that we're going to be giving out today. Now we started this 3 years ago, and we told you guys that we're going to be coming back every year to give you a check. We gave you one check last year. This year we're giving you one check, but it's for 4 causes, for 4 reasons. This year we're going to be giving the city a $4,000 check, and this $4,000 check will be broken out into 4 initiatives. $1,000 for flag football, youth flag football, girls, $1,000 for youth flag football, boys, $1,000 for baseball, youth baseball, both sports, and then both genders, and then $1,000 for girls softball. We're trying to help the softball group create a feeder system for the high school so that they'll be competitive later. So once again, since the beginning, the city council and the mayor have been very supportive. They've never hesitated when we've asked for support. And at this point, I don't know who gave what, other than Councilman Smith and the mayor. I know what they gave. But thank you guys, really appreciate it. I know you're all supporting at some level, and I really appreciate what you've done for us. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, Derek, a big thank you to you and your board and for all that you're doing to change those lives, because I think you're truly changing lives one by one. And man, that's great, and I appreciate the challenge for others to create a foundation. Maybe that'll spark some thoughts. And man, it's just good to see you.
Hey, always.
Miss seeing you. It's good to see you.
Hey, and you guys, you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Yes, sir, Councilman Smith.
And make sure that he sits in the back of the room. I think you'll have much better meetings if you put your lawyer in the back of the room.
Councilman Williams, just want to say thank you. As always, it's good to see you, a friend and a mentor. Of course, let me know when you get ready to come back. But thank you for all that you do for the kids. Thank you, sir. All right.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Yes.
I just want to say, Derek, while you're here, I will renew Every time you come here, I drive this point home, but I still would like to renew my call that we consider naming the new Champions Field at the sports park in honor of your father, Coach Rudolph, be it Coach Rudolph Park at Champions Field or Coach Rudolph Field at Champions Park. I think it'd be a nice gesture, but given my track record with Gadsden Sports Park and my recommendations, I'm currently batting 0, so don't put too much faith in that.
All right, thank you. All right. Agenda item 8, we'll move forward. Is unfinished business. We have none today. So we'll move to agenda item 9. It's a resolution authorizing agreement with GPS Technologies Incorporated. This is for mounted yardage displays for golf carts at Twin Bridges Golf Course, and the amount is $2,691. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Agenda item numbers 10 through 13 are resolutions accepting permanent drainage easements from property owners for the construction of drainage improvements. We have number 10 is Demetrius and John Bradford, drainage easement at 329 North 9th Street. Item 11 is Demetrius Bradford, drainage easement at 329 North 9th Street. Item 12 is for Linda R. Hood, Life Estate, drainage easement at 333 North 9th Street. Item 13 is Gary M. and Joan C. Henry, drainage easement at 344 10th Street. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt all 4 resolutions. Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt all 4 resolutions, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt all 4.
Item 14 is for new business. I believe we have many items this morning.
Yes, Mr. President, I have 3, and it's my understanding, I believe, that all 3 of these are impacting your district. These are, again, to continue with the permanent drainage easements. All of these are part of much-needed drainage projects throughout the city. I have 3 here. One is item 2024-142, which is accepting a permanent drainage easement at 2525 Brookhaven Drive. The next is item 2024-140, which is accepting a permanent drainage easement at 218 Manor Street. And the third item is 2024-141, which is a resolution accepting a permanent drainage easement at 2020 Manor Street. So given the time-sensitive nature of these projects and how much they're needed, I would like to ask my colleagues to suspend the rules and consider this under new business today. If we could consider all 3 of these in one motion.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second? Councilman Smith, second. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider all 3 resolutions as items of new business today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt all 3 resolutions, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt all 3.
All right, I believe Councilman Robinson, you have some?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I have resolution number 2024-144. It's awarding bid number 3520 to Boatner Construction Company for $2,829,209.07. And I'm glad to say this is for the new fire station we're going to be building up at the Knocklow Falls. It's going to have the old wooded facade, and it's going to look the part of Knocklow Falls, and that's what we're really wanting up there. So I'm excited to see this one coming around. I'd like to suspend the rules and ask for immediate consideration.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today as an item of new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
I have one more, Mr. President. This is Resolution 2024-145. It's authorizing permit applications with the Alabama Department of Transportation, ALDOT. This is just basically giving ALDOT the permission to look at everything in case there might need to be like new curbage, or the driveway for the fire station might need to be widened. So this gives them the opportunity to look at that to see if there's any needed moves for that highway there. I'd like to suspend the rules and ask for immediate consideration.
Well, and Mr. President, if I could add to that, sometimes when you build sidewalks out of pure gold, you have to worry about the water runoff and stuff, you know, so, I mean, this is always an issue we run into up there at Nakalula when we're putting these gold sidewalks in.
All right, there's a second for the gold sidewalks.
I don't even know.
All right. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Did we have a second?
Councilman Smith. Yes, ma'am.
Those in favor to consider the resolution today as an item of new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
I move to adopt.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
All right, that's, I think, all the new business for
We have
today. Is that
one.
right? Oh, we have one? I'm sorry. Excuse me. Councilman Avery, please.
No problem. Mr. President, I would like to present for consider today from the Finance Department 2024-149. This is to amend fiscal year 2024 budget, Fire Station number 5, and 2 portable restroom trailers. This will give a total of $2.9 million. And some odd change as it relates to adding the budget for the capital improvement for the fire stations, along with the 2 restroom equipments coming of the account 340 and the account 320. So at this point, I will ask for one of those restrooms, just to give some light to, would be permanently stationed at the Carver's Community Center. And then the other restroom would be be able to be moved to other city events or city situations where they will be needed. So I will ask today for immediate consideration.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the ordinance today as an item of new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we have unanimous consent for immediate consideration.
Passage, please.
Second.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mayor
can I say
Ford.
something, please?
Sure.
I want to thank Councilwoman Latham and Councilman Smith and Councilman Avery for the need of the restrooms at Carver. The group effort of everybody working together with administration, that was something that was needed. We were able to fit that need, and they are ADA accessible, which is important. So that was the increase of the budgetary item to make them, according to the American Disabilities Act. And also for the other restroom, it'll be used for events, activities, possibly First Fridays, Christmas on the Coosa, and other items. So we're excited about that. Thank y'all for considering that. And also, we're excited about breaking ground on the fire station to get one of the 3 out of the way.
Thank you, Mayor Ford. All right. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay, item 15 is department reports, committees, or boards. Do we have any of those this morning? Welcome, Christina.
Good morning. I'm here to talk about the sidewalks of gold and how they're being maintained. Just a little update about what we've had going on. I know it's kind of been people consider this a downtime for us, but there's really no downtime for our staff. They've been working hard to do some of the brush cleanup. I know Public Works did some at the creek across the road from the park back before the holidays. My staff has taken care of the other side now, and it's looking great. And they are also doing some clearing along the gorge top right now just to clean it up and make it look better. Our train starts running on Friday, so this will actually give people a little bit of a view of the trail down into the gorge from the train when they complete that. So the park is fully open right now except for the train, and it will start up on Friday. Our staff has teamed up, including the gift shop manager, the train manager, rentals, and mini golf, and they have cleaned and pressure washed and painted the ponds at mini golf. And so it is basically ready to open. It will open on March 1st. And when we open, it'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday until Memorial Day. And then we'll go 7 days a week on mini golf. So it is looking good. They've got it cleaned up and ready to go as well. Christmas lights are almost down. A couple of weeks more on that and we'll be done with Christmas lights. The season passes are for sale now at NoccalulaFallsPark.com for anybody that wants to get their season pass. The train shed, as far as construction, our contractors have been there. The train shed's looking great. It's near completion. The petting zoo is moving along. They've started going vertical. They've got some posts in the ground to start going up with yet. Before it was just the underground utilities and concrete, so we're finally going vertical. And of course, the campground is, it looks ugly, but progress is being made for sure. They've been doing some blast up there to get the underground utilities and stuff going over there. So lots is happening on the mountain. As far as in our office, we have been working on designing new event flyers, updating our brochure for the park. Right now we have 47 Art on the Rocks vendors registered for May. We'll end out about 100 on that event. And we have 360 barbarians registered for our June event already. So we will end out about 1,000 on that event. So we're excited about that. Our downtown crew, they've been sprucing up around the future City Hall building over at Regions Bank. They got the trees planted at 759 and cleaned up the shrub beds there. We will be adding some pine straw to that area as soon as we get a trailer. And they are preparing to replant around some signage in town. The airport, municipal court, and the industrial park entrance are some areas that we've targeted to replant those areas in the near future. So if y'all have a need in your area, in your district, please let me know on landscaping. We try to group things together and do a big shrub order. So if you see a need that we've missed, please let me know.
All right, anybody have any? Mayor, would you like to comment?
So I just want to say thanks to Christina. Not many people realize that she's also over the landscaping crew for the whole city. So one thing she's about to tackle, which we're excited about, are the medians. They kind of look rough, and they're going to take a ride with Heath and see which ones can be concrete and which ones can be turfed. So we're excited about that. I think that is part of cleaning up Gadsden and making it look good.
Yeah, as soon as that decision's made, Brandon Stevens is going to get the sod ordered, and we'll go ahead and sod the ones that we can sod, and then concrete maybe a little later.
Yeah, and thank you, Christina.
Thank you. I'd like to point out, Mayor, we're basically, we have a state park, and we call it Nockalula Falls, and we do it with city funds, and you're the director of that. I just want to commend you for what you're doing on top of all the landscaping outside of Nockalula Falls. But all I hear is great things about Nockalula Falls. Anybody that goes up there just raves over it, they brag on it, and it really is like a state park that most cities would love to have within their city, but usually the state would fund it and the state would operate it, but we're doing it with folks like you and your wonderful staff. So I just want to publicly thank you and your staff for what you're doing up there, not just Christmas at the Falls, kind of like what you were alluding to. I mean, that's a 12-month sprint that you guys are on around the clock. So thank you, and looking forward to the petting zoo getting up and all the things that are happening, all the construction, and sometimes it's got to be dirty before it can look pretty again at the campground. So we look forward to that. That'll all happen in due time. But just thank you for the work that you do and for the dedication and the vision that you're bringing to your team and to our city.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank
I have
you.
a hardworking team for sure.
You sure do.
And I appreciate Mayor Ford for allowing his tree crew to go up there and clean up that one side of Nockalula Falls. It looks so much better now, the creek. You can actually see the creek run, especially when the water's going through. You're right through there in the evening and you see that water running. And I know they didn't get the other side, and I was going to get with you after that. I just didn't want to push the issue, but I appreciate your guys going out there and cleaning up. That looks really good.
We actually had a gentleman that lives nearby call us, and he was like, hey, what about this other side? And I was like, hey, you're right. We talked about it about a year ago.
Yeah.
So we got on it, and he actually stopped by and thanked the guys that were doing it. So we appreciate that. Our guys always love to hear, that their effort and their work is being seen. So we appreciate that.
It looks really good. I got more plans. I'll meet with you guys sometimes up there, and we'll look at everything over.
More sidewalks of gold.
More gold sidewalks and
That'll make Jason happy.
down lighting and all kind of stuff. And I would just eventually, we need better signage for the putt-putt golf course. I mean, I think we have like a tiny little sign up there that just basically says
I actually
disc golf.
sent a message about that this week. So me and
A
Heath
lot
are
of people
talking.
don't realize it's even there because it's back in there a little bit, but it's a beautiful little course.
It is a beautiful course, and we now have a full-time manager over that, so hopefully she'll help bring some attention to that. But we are waiting on the architects to do some drawings to
Killer.
get new signs all the
Killer.
way down
And
through
Pine
there.
Straw, I know I remind you this, Pasture Park just needs a few bells.
We are out. We are waiting on a trailer.
Whenever you-
So
whenever
we're
you get it
expecting
back
a
in.
trailer this week.
All right, I'm done. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Christina.
Hey, one thing to keep in mind, no kidding, long-term, this probably free up some more money to spend at Knuckle Falls, but please consider synthetic turf in these new turf applications. I'll never stop saying it, but it's exponentially more economical to install synthetic turf in landscaping applications than use real turf that requires regular maintenance, regular cutting. You don't have to buy lawnmowers. You don't have to put gas in them. You don't have to have labor. You put them in one time and you never have to worry about it again for 20 years. Please consider synthetic turf applications throughout the city where appropriate.
Yes, sir. Will
Thank
do.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Are there any other department reports? All right, then we'll move on to item 16 in our agenda. This is citizen requests. We welcome Robert Avery. Robert Avery is going to discuss ARP budget and CDBG funds. And this is kind of a stellar day, right? We have two of our former city council members are joining us this morning. So welcome. We're glad you're here.
This is your lucky day.
It is, that's right.
You get 2 for 1. While that's being passed around, I want to FYI for the CDBG funds. I understand you had a meeting, public hearing the other day, in the middle of the day at City Hall. For council members who don't know, we used to have public hearings in districts in the afternoons and on the weekends so the citizens could have an input as to what those funds go for. But here lately, the administration, not this one, but the previous administration, saw fit to just make a budget and have a farce meeting to have public input because the law requires that. So I wish you guys would go back to community meetings and have truly community input as to how those funds are supposed to be spent. That's what the law says. Anyway, through with that. Passing around the information from the Northeast Alabama Black Chamber of Commerce. You know, I was here last year asking for some funds from the American Rescue Plan. Those funds were supposed to be used to improve communities. You guys didn't know a lot about it at that time, but we all went to Washington last March. You found out that cities all over this country is using those funds to improve human infrastructure as opposed to just infrastructure. And don't get me wrong, I know those dollars can be used for infrastructure. I just wish this city and a lot of other cities did what the people you all witnessed in those meetings did. They took a few dollars and did engineering studies for their infrastructure and then applied for funding from the $1.9 trillion of infrastructure that the president approved when they were passing these dollars out. As you can see, what we're wanting to do is primarily help human infrastructure here in this city. I think I brought to your attention last year, this city spends over $200,000 a year for businesses downtown in that area and nothing for businesses in the area that I've highlighted here. What we want to do with these funds is to make sure that these businesses in these areas, and for the public, I'll just name those areas that we're talking about. We're talking about East Broad Street, Ewing Avenue, Forest Avenue, Tuscaloosa Avenue, West Meagan Boulevard, and Wall Street, where we don't have a concerted effort from this city spending money to help these businesses. And this is what we want to do with these funds. Last year, we requested $2.4 million, which would have been $600,000 a year for 4 years. And to show you that we do have a budget and we do have plans, this year we were requesting $1.8 million. It reduced it by $600,000 because of the fact that a year has passed. The law says that these funds can be allocated up until December of this year, and they have to be spent by December of 2026. And what we're doing, and I think we had a misprint here, but anyway, what we're doing is asking for $600,000 a year for this year, next year, and the year after to operate what we want to do. We're looking at a workforce development program. I think the city started, or someone tried to start some programs after I came up and talked about it last year, which is good. I don't have a problem with that. I just think that we can do it better. Facade and signage programs that you have downtown that you spend. Most people don't know that businesses downtown can get up to $7,500 for facade grants or signage. And so we want to be able to do that on these other areas that I just talked about. Youth development program. This city needs a youth development program. And I'm glad Williams were here earlier. You have to get out of that. Talking about youth and our development, we want to start a youth development program in this city, connected to this city. We're going to be doing that with that. Micro loans for our small businesses. We want to be able to improve our tax base. And one way you do that is by helping small businesses get started. And there are a lot of mom and pop businesses out there that needs $500, needs $1,000 to get started. Again, helping our tax base here in this city. One of the programs we want to do, startup businesses again. We want to do an incubator. I understand that since I was here last time, there was possibly a semi-incubator started. But we want to work on that and make sure we have a great incubator for our new startup businesses and our small businesses. Auditing service, legal service, a number of things we want to do for our community, our small businesses, that some of it is afforded downtown with some of the things that they do here, but we want to be able to do it all over this city. So again, I'm requesting funding from the American Rescue Plan. You guys said that the previous administration had done the budget. Well, you've been here a year. You can change the budget. The budget has been changed since you've been here. So I hope that you will really strongly consider this, and I'll be glad to sit down with whoever, because I heard that they say, well, what they going to do with all that money? We're going to sit down and give you details as to what we're going to do with that money when you say you're serious about giving us that money. With that, I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming today. All right, that's the last in the citizen request. We'll move to agenda item 17, remarks by mayor and council. Mayor Ford, would you start us off, please?
Yeah, thank you very much. Just during my remarks, I just want to comment on some of the things that Mr. Avery said, and with due respect to him. As far as in the ARP funds, the previous administration and council have already dedicated those funds to sewage projects and drainage projects, which are coming to fruition. Like we passed a lot of easement ordinances today. So all that money has been tied up, expended, and will be spent by the year of December 2026, as we discussed in pre-council. The facade and signage grant that he mentioned hadn't been available for 2 years for Broad Street. I think that was something the previous administration did. I'm not sure. We are looking at doing something similar to that in the Alabama City area and the East Broad area already. The workforce development program, I'm a strong believer in workforce development. Gadsden State's opening up a $50+ million building for that very thing right there. The incubator, if people aren't aware, IDA, David Hooks, has a state-of-the-art incubator system over at Industrial Development Authority in East Gadsden at the venue. So I agree with Mr. Avery on a lot of these programs. However, a lot of them are already in place, and just wanted to make sure that the people knew that the ARP funds that were received numerous years ago have been allotted for and accounted for and will be spent on projects that the previous council and the previous mayor had already dedicated. So to change a project at this time would jeopardize losing the money and sending money back to federal government. So I'll leave that at that. Want to wish everybody happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. We had a great visit last week with Representative Butler and Representative Gidley working on several statewide bills and a local bill to support for the city of Gadsden. We had training this week on our app that we'll be rolling out in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Next Tuesday, please put this date on your calendar, February 20th at 5 p.m. at the venue. We will have the public unveiling of the final Grow Gadsden Master Plan. So this is a big day we've been waiting on for almost 15 months. So February 20th at 5 p.m. at the venue, it'll be an unveiling of the final Grow Master Plan. So thank you, Mr. President, members of the council.
Thank you, Mayor Ford. Councilwoman Latham?
I have no remarks.
No remarks today. Councilman Smith?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Good to see everybody here this morning. As always, it's good to see former Councilman Williams here again and making a contribution to the children on behalf of the Coach Rudolph Foundation. Thank you, former Councilman Avery, for that information and always just showing back up at City Hall. And we just appreciate your friendship, as well as Dr. Watts I saw back there, and all that you've done throughout the city over the years. We appreciate you. It's another good day of government, and I just want to encourage us to continue to keep moving forward. We thank God for our mayor, Mayor Ford, the city council, and all the department heads. The city is looking amazing. Again, I'm excited about gas and where we are and where we are going. So with that being said, thank you. I want to take this time to invite everybody out today at 6 p.m. We're having what's called a town hall meeting at New Destiny, dealing with chronic illness. My wife is a vendor for UAB, and some of the representatives will be here today at New Destiny, so the mayor will be there, and we would love to see some of you all come out as well. This meeting will last about 1 hour, from 6 to 7, so if you can, we would love to have you to come out. I am also a person who deals with a chronic illness as well. That just means something you're going to be probably dealing with the rest of your life when you hear people say chronic. So it's good information, and we'd invite you to come out today at 6 p.m. Just to listen in. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Councilman Avery?
Want to give a shout out to Ashton Gray and Loving the Culture as it relates to Black History event that was held on this past week with a numerous of days of events as it relates to financial literacy, as it relates to, I guess, gospel explosion or gospel choir event, and a number of others from educational to entertainment and so on and so on, shedding highlight to a lot of the Black culture there in District 3 and throughout the city of Gadsden. So I want to thank he and his team for the hard work and efforts that they put on, and all of those others that have put on events. There's a couple of other events that are on the way, and one to mention would be, one to mention also would be on February the 24th, and that event is being held at Mission Baptist Church at 4:30 p.m. through 6:30 p.m., put on by Mr. Jamie Winborn. It's called The Power of Faith, Hope, and Love. He'll have guest speakers, poetry, and all of that good stuff. And it's a Black History celebration, and that's 1115 Tuscaloosa Avenue. Another event will be held on February the 25th, will be put on by CCRC, which is Carver Community Revitalization Committee. That Black History program is the 25th at 4 p.m. at First Missionary Baptist Church in Alabama City, 101 North 29th Street. The guest speaker would be the attorney Courtney Garrett. And then I'll move on to a note of just checking up on your friends and family. A close young man of the family committed suicide a couple of days ago. And so we're sending out prayers and condolences to his family, his wife, his children. And so I say this, I try to say this as much as I can when it relates to our young people within the city, is that reach out and let's talk, let's have those conversations. Surprisingly, this young man was an ear to many other young people's conversations and issues and things. So to Mr. Sheldon Ragland family, we love you. We're thinking of you through this time, and we're praying for your strength. I want to thank all the small businesses within District 3 that's continuing on their efforts in growing, the efforts of growing the city, all that they do within our district primarily, and just continuing pushing forth with business within our district, with our challenges and all. Thank them for their initiatives and their help. This is no downer on the Nakalula Falls area, and it relates to cleanup and things of that nature when it comes to the falls. But I have to say this out loud because I have a lot of constituents that have concerns, and those emails have went in. I haven't got much feedback from them just yet, and I checked my phone to double check to make sure that I don't speak out of context here. We still have trees down in District 3 as it relates to the first storm. We have drainage issues that have been addressed, have yet to be addressed as it relates to concerns as far back as, if I'm correct with my emails, as far as last August. I want to commend the community members who are very few that take initiative as it relates to picking up trash, doing all to keep our community clean. Taking initiative as it relates to, because we took an initiative to get some of those trees down ourselves, that came out to do that. Listen, I am a believer, as I ran for office, and I said I believe from working from within our community first and then come to City Hall and make some fuss and noise. Because in my opinion, I think though our voice will be heard better when we show that we are willing to put in the work first, depending on the projects and things that need to take care of. So again, I'm calling out to those members of the community as well. Our streets got trash on them right now because we have people that just don't give a care, and that's to put it nicely. And so therefore we have to take some initiatives to clean up our streets and do some of those things that we don't like doing. I did it just as early this morning. I put a post. I couldn't sleep last night, so I got up around about 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning and went out and started picking up some paper because I like to see a clean community. And so therefore I give a warning and heed to those that are throwing out trash. I'm going to do my best to aid our police department and anyone else that are throwing trash in our streets, that you get penalized. I had a gentleman that comes on my dead-end street and that does not live in that community and throw trash and dumps his trash there. And we had a heated conversation just the other day. And I did my best to get his tag number and everything else I could because I am serious about a clean community. I am tired of riding down the street and seeing our streets the way that they are. While I also give heat at City Hall, I give heat in my community. So I'm equal opportunities when it comes to that. But we have to get serious about seeing our neighborhood the way that we want to. With that said, I'll skip whatever else I have and go into commending. I do want to say this. I went to Carver Gym. I am so ecstatic for the new hire there. I think Mr. Swain, who is doing a great job at Carver. I'm seeing a lot of activity at Carver Gym with the basketball guys coming and playing basketball during the lunch hours. We're looking at doing some stuff. I spoke. I'll be getting with some people to look at some pool tables and some foosball tables and things that our kids will enjoy. I'll be pressing the issue, with possibly getting us a library there back at Carver, and some other some things with our senior citizen activities that involve our senior citizens there with a part of the facilities there. But I am so grateful for Mr. Swain, who keeps the grounds very clean, who has a great relationship with the community and those that come. I'm so thankful for the young men to come back at Carver. I am looking to get with the administration and those Parks and Rec department as it relates to our outside basketball court and tennis ball courts to see if we can do a community initiative with painting that and updating that without no funds to the city, but the community coming together and with a partnership with the city to just paint those courts and just kind of do whatever we can to enhance them for the summer season. So, but I am very grateful for Mr. Swain who called and just had some concerns, and we spoke on those and his heart and desire for that community and that center. With that being said, Black History Month, George Baker is a graduate of Carver High School here in Gadsden, Alabama, or was in Gadsden, Alabama, Alabama State University graduate. Gadsden native, spent 29 of his 39 years in coaching at Emma Sansom High School, where his basketball teams won 505 games with the state championship and a 28-1 record in 1992, an undefeated regular season in 1977, 1979, and 1981. He also coached at his alumni Carver and helped guide the Gadsden City school system through an early years of integration as the system's first black head coach. A four-sport athlete in college, Big Bake had 37 of his former players sign college scholarships. He was honored with the day by the city of Gadsden as he retired in 2001 and was inducted into the Etowah County Sports Hall of Fame in 2005. His greatest achievements may have been the many lives he influenced as a father figure to the hundreds of boys. And I must say that he was a coach of mine and he was a father figure, and his key words, you bonehead. And so therefore I take this opportunity this Tuesday, February the 13th, to honor Coach George Baker in our Black history here in Gadsden, Alabama. That concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Avery. Councilman Wilson?
I know that I give Nakalula Falls a hard time a lot, but obviously everybody understands what a tremendous resource that is for the city of Gadsden. Not only our natural resource, but as a financial resource, generates millions and millions of dollars that are invested throughout this city. So I just want to make it clear, sometimes because Councilman Robinson and I are really dear friends, I pile up on him, but I want to make sure everybody knows I'm a big fan of Nakalula Falls. So some of these side comments. And with that in mind, I'd like to draw everyone's attention in the community. Please reach out to your legislators about House Bill 105. This is a piece of legislation that was just introduced on the state level that would limit the amount of lodging taxes that can be collected from campgrounds and RV parks. And as the city has just made an announcement of a massive $12 million investment into our campground at Nakalula Falls, the idea that this bill would go through and then it would eliminate a lot of the lodging taxes that are generated from the campers who stay there for extended amounts of time. 25% of all lodging taxes are reinvested into the local community with the Greater Gadsden Area Tourism Department. So this would be incredibly impactful to our community that's becoming more and more focused on a tourism-based economy here. So please, if you get a chance, it's really simple. You can call up there, you call the main number, switchboard, and you just say, I'd like to voice my opposition to House Bill 105, and they mark it on a piece of paper. And believe it or not, even our mayor can tell you, who's been in the legislature for quite some time, every one of those little phone calls and check marks adds up, and I promise it can have a tremendous impact on whether that legislation is passed or not. The other thing I want to talk about is something that has directly to do with racism in this community. I have recently seen and now it's even come into my district. I've recently seen downtown several posters that have been illegally posted on power poles and power stations and some of the metal power boxes you see around. And this is now culminated in a giant piece of graffiti on a vacant building in District 5 on the corner of 6th and Randall Street from a neo-Nazi hate group called the Patriot Front. The Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center both recognized this group as a hate group. They were an integral part of the Unite the Right rally in Virginia, if you all remember that, where a young woman lost her life when an individual drove a car into a crowded group of people. Just to give you some points about this. The Patriot Front is a white supremacist group whose members maintain that their ancestors conquered America and bequeathed it to them and no one else. Patriot Front justifies its ideology of hate and intolerance under the guise of preserving the ethnic and cultural origins of its members' European ancestry. Patriot Front spreads its hateful propaganda via the internet and by distributing banners, flyers, posters, propagandas, and stickers. I've seen dozens of these things pop up over the last 3 weeks in the city of Gadsden, in the heart of our city. And now, again, in my own district, a giant billboard-sized piece of graffiti on a vacant building promoting this disgusting hatred and bigotry. And so I'm calling on everybody in this community, if you see somebody who's taken part in one of these graffiti sessions where they're painting these hateful things on buildings, please call the police. I'm calling on our law enforcement officer in the mayor's office. Please recognize that this is a real issue. This organization does nothing but spew hate nonstop. They are violent. They are neo-Nazis. They're fascists. They are absolutely disgusting. And I've never been more disappointed with all the positive things we have going on in the city of Gadsden to see this in my own neighborhood last week. It's disgusting, and I'm asking everybody to come together as a community and shut this down right away, because there's no place for it. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Wilson. Councilwoman Manatra.
I would just like to remind everyone that the Theater of Gadsden, which operates at the Ritz Theater on Wall Street in Alabama City, this is their second weekend to perform Steel Magnolias. The performances are Friday and Saturday night at 7 p.m., Sunday at 2 p.m., and we need the support of the Theater of Gadsden, and we would love to have you, if not attend a performance, but support them, and there'll be more to come on the Theater of Gadsden and what we'd love to do for all of Etowah County. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. President. To Councilman Avery's point on litter, I think we should all, as council men and women, should get together and just kind of put a list of streets down that we have some problems at, some issues, so we can maybe get with our sign department and get some no littering signs with the fine underneath that, and that might help slow it down just a little bit. But we still got to, it's what you say, the community's got to not put it out there, but it happens in all 7 districts, and it's just it's a horrible thing that people still litter. But I think if we put those signs out and we started enforcing a little bit more, I think that would slowly clean it up. That's all for me, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would concur. We think we've made great strides, Mayor, with your leadership and with the litter, and but we do need to. We can't let up. I think we have to keep beating that drum. Councilwoman Latham, you have something to add.
I do apologize. I just
That's okay.
received this. It is an announcement for the Lincoln Miller Heights Improvement Association. We'll be meeting this coming Saturday, February the 17th, at Mount Zion Baptist Church at 2 p.m.
Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. I don't have any comments this afternoon, so with that, this meeting is adjourned.